This video is sponsored by In the Zone Cards and Games, your headquarters for board games, paints, and Magic the Gathering. In the Zone Cards and Games, Ashtabula, Ohio. Hi everybody and welcome back to the Board Games Maelstrom. Today we're going to take a look at a Renegade Game Studios game, Architects of the West Kingdom. This is a demo game provided by In the Zone Cards and Games. They do a great job down there. They keep a lot of good games in stock, and they're at good prices. So if you're local to the Northeast Ohio area, please travel on up to In the Zone Cards and Games and take a look at the stuff that they have. They have tons of paints. They have tons of games. They have all kinds of Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, whatever it is that you're into. I'm pretty sure he's going to carry it there, as well as D&D and a multitude of other things. But In the Zone Cards and Games, it's your headquarters for board games, paint supplies, and Magic the Gathering in the Zone Cards and Games. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at Architects of the West Kingdom. This is one that I have been anticipating taking a look at, but I have not been able to get my hands on a copy of it simply because of lack of funds and such other reasons. But today we're going to be taking a look at this very cool game by Renegade Game Studios. Hopefully that doesn't spoil my review of this, but give me a second and we'll go down to the table and take a look. Alright, here we are down at the table with Architects of the West Kingdom, which does include a very cool deck that allows you to play with a dummy player, so you can play single player or two player with an extra player. There are rules for both of those things. Architects of the West Kingdom has a beautiful board. I love the art style. I've always liked the art style of all of the games that were within this world. I believe this is set at like 850 AD, and you're trying to build a cathedral and impress your king and get victory points. The cathedral is up here. As you build, you need certain resources to add on to the cathedral. As you build, you get victory points, which are kept track of at the end of the game. You get different things for victory points, and there are each time you build a piece of the cathedral, then you grab a card, and these cards are always good. Different places. During this game you will be paying taxes, and the taxes will go here into the tax stand, and then some of the money goes back to the general supply. It all depends on the situation. One of the actions you can take is you can steal from the tax stand, and as you can see, the broken... offhand, I don't know what that is called again. Virtue, that's what it is. Had to look it up in the book, see how unprepared I am. Virtue, you can lose or gain virtue, which is kept track of on this track. As you gain virtue, you get certain perks, and you get more victory points, and as you lose virtue, it's not all bad. You get different perks for losing virtue. Perhaps you won't pay taxes, but also if you lose virtue past this point here, you can no longer build the cathedral. So you have to, and you can move up and down this track. It's not like once you're there, you're done. Up here, if you go above that virtue mark with that little bag with the X on it, it means you cannot use the black market. And the black market is a way that you can gain several things, good resources and stuff, but you're going to end up losing virtue when you do so. So basically, in my experience, this game is a hover around the middle of the virtue track, using it as you can, going dipping below to get those benefits, going up above. And then once you get toward the end of the game, get your butt up to the top of the track. That's what I did anyway, and I ended up winning the game that I played that time that I did it that way. It's like I said, it's basic worker placement. When they have these big circles like this, that means as many players can go there as there are. Down here, when it has the small circles, that means only one person can go. There is a silversmith. That's how you get your money. Forest allows you to get these wood resources right here, and hopefully my lighting is good enough. The quarry helps you get stone. The mines help you get clay or gold. The guardhouse we'll talk about here in a second. The workshop allows you to get buildings, and then you can also recruit these apprentices that can help you in your game. The apprentices do different things. Like this one, you can pay 3 silver coins to get a marble, which are normally a little bit difficult to get. And this is every time you can pay a clay and go up 1 on the virtue track, which is a pretty good trade-off. Whenever you go to the black market on this one, you're going to get an extra stone, and here you can trade 2 stone for a marble. There's all kinds of different things that these apprentices do to help you out. Now, the one thing I like about this game is it's not like other worker placement games where everybody places their workers out in subsequent rounds and then everybody gathers them up and it goes on to the new round. This one, you don't collect your workers until they are captured and sent to the guardhouse, or you perform an action that's going to allow you to capture your workers. Up here is the guardhouse. What will happen is people can come down here, they can capture your workers, put them on the player board in the jail, and then they can sell them to the guardhouse for money. And then at that point you can go in and into the guardhouse and get them back. You can spend an action here at the guardhouse, which there are several actions that allow you to get your workers back. You must pay a price to do so. There's different ways within the game that you can earn these debt cards. And when I say earn, I say that loosely because you're not really earning them. But once you pay them off, which it takes 3 taxable and 3 untaxable to pay off your debt card, allows you to flip it over. And it starts out like this, and this is a loss of victory points, and then it can turn over to this, which is a +1 on the virtue track, which can give you victory points. So be careful with your debt cards. Be careful about holding on to them too long. You need to get them turned over before the end of the game, or you could get stuck with a lot of negative points. The components of this game are fantastic. Would have been nice to have like maybe some metal money, but it is what it is. They're very nice cardboard. They're thick. All of the resources are wooden. The trees look like branches. The marble look like marble slabs. Stone. These are all wooden. Gold, clay. Everybody gets a pool of 20 workers, and as they go out, they stay out. If you build on the cathedral, your worker will go into one of those spaces, and it will stay there the remainder of the game. You play the game until the end of the game is triggered by these worker spots. With 5 players, it has to be filled completely up. 4 players to here, 3 players to here. And when it gets filled up there and it'll stop, you wouldn't go any further there and you'd go to here, and that's when the game ends, and that's when the scores are counted up. Throughout, you can build buildings that will give you different attributes. To build these buildings, you have to have resources, and you also have to have certain apprentices with some of them. Like the apprentices with the hammer symbol would be needed to build this building, along with apprentice with a sword symbol. And those would, you would have to have all that, plus the resources in order to build this building, but then it gives you a sometimes instant, sometimes permanent benefit for having them built. Sometimes they'll give you victory points at the end of the game, sometimes they'll give you different things. Overall, I think this is a fantastic game. It's not super heavy, but it's not super light, so it'll kind of scratch that itch for some people who like a little bit more of a thinky game. There's lots of ways to go to earn victory points, lots of different things, so you're not like pigeonholed into one way and everybody's fighting for it. The good thing about it not being a normal worker placement game is at the beginning of the round, on a normal worker placement game, for the most part, everybody is gunning for that one spot that everybody wants, but this one doesn't have that because they go and open up at different times, and you can, there's all kind of different ways you can get your workers off the board and get them back out there so it can earn you points and get you stuff. One of the important concepts of the game to note is, as you place a worker out, let's say the red player placed a worker here. So, that's, at the forest it says that you get 1 wood per worker there. Now in the second round, you place a worker there. Now you get 2 pieces of wood, and this can go on and on and on, making your subsequent actions more powerful. As they're more powerful, you'll get more resources, and that is where the town center comes in, because eventually somebody is going to want to stop you. And when they do, they arrest your people, bring them back to their board, and then they can send them to the jail to get money, or they can keep them on their board. And you can also, there is an action that allows you to liberate your workers from other people's boards as well. There's all kinds of different characters in this game for you to play. They're very cool. Very cool artwork. And if you look here at the bottom, it tells you, like, the end game, what scores victory points. So at the end, everybody can be counting up their victory points that they receive. And like I said before, this has a solo or 3-player variant, which allows you to use a dummy deck, which will simulate that 3rd player and make the experience open to a lot more people. You know, I mean, say you're in a house where you're the only gamer, then you too can still play the game. You can still enjoy it. The 2-player experience with the dummy player, or solo experience with the dummy player, is good. The 2-player experience is also good. It doesn't feel contrived, and it looks fantastic. Again, you know, this is I'm going to give this category 4 out of 5 Storm. Very good game, very beautiful aesthetics. I like the look of things. I like the artwork. This game, let me make sure that I get you the specifics on it. This game is made by Renegade Game Studios. Let me see, what is the well, 1 to 5 players, ages 12 and up, 60 to 80 minutes. It's not a super long game. Once everybody knows what they're doing, it'll go rather quickly, enabling you to get more games in on a game night. So, I do like this game. I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. Seems like lately there's a lot of games, but I do pick and choose the games that I do on the channel, and so I generally know that they're going to be decent when I get them, and then it'll all just depend on my tastes after that. But so far, so good. Awesome game. I recommend it. Definitely recommend it. And if you want it for sure, and you live in the northeastern Ohio area, this game is available at In the Zone Cards